on all sides. You can just break in now.
Well, that's good.
The front gate is operational enough that they can actually drop it, which is always great at defense. As you approach up, the guards definitely came to attention, and there was definitely murmurs that went around the keep, hearing that your group had returned. It's also more popular than you remember before.
Hmm.
It looks like there's more like green ranked recruits here now. So Bolton's been busy.
Hmm. More fodder for the fire. Well,
More fodder for the meat grinder. Come on.
yeah.
Oh god.
Get it right.
The engine of war that we're running.
It's rather late in the day by the time all of you manage to get back, despite setting out quite early. It's the nature of travel through rural territory. Still, packing up your horses and such, very quickly darting out from the keep. You're all greeted by Lady Eliza, who looks like she's been a lot more stressed than normal, though perhaps that's because she's dealing with like logistics than it is like hunting. My lords. Welcome to our new keep.
Hey.
Quite impressed with the quick progress.
To be honest, most of it's Ryden's doing. I don't know how it happened. I had a few men show up on the first couple of days and we struggled to get anything set up. Day 3 came around and suddenly we had enough timber to basically build a whole new building if we wanted.
Hmm.
Well,
He's apparently been levying support from the peasants, getting them to support the war effort. Do you want me to get everyone together immediately, or would you rather just settle in for the evening after your ride?
There's no big need to rush everyone together now. We can do it in the morning.
Yes, and there's something that I wish to discuss.
All right. In the morning then.
Okay. All of you do have rooms prepared for you. They're not extravagant, but they're warm. They're in one piece, and they have decent beds, at least as good as Ryden could get on short notice.
That's fair.
In the morning, you're all able to slip into your new council room. That actually looks rather nice, all things considered. You remember this room having a giant hole in it previously? No sign of the hole anymore. The other council members have not yet been summoned, but you can do so at any time.
Because wants to lean on the table. Like,
I don't know whether I want to like lean here, hands splayed, or just like behind you slightly.
Yeah, looming.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. He'll stand here. Or like near the map, I guess.
What's crowding the king, huh?
Well, I mean, we have to be ready for the rest of the council to come in, and
Of course.
there's several of them. Do you Vicus want to be his right-hand man or his left hand?
I don't know. What am I to you?
What am I?
What am I?
Who is your right hand and who is your sinister left hand?
Well, I guess more sinister. Maybe he's the sinister left hand. It's hard to say.
Excellent.
Wow. Very good, my lord.
My disguise has worked. I mean, good lord.
None of them,
Ah!
none of them realize I'm a lich. Like, serious? You said that out loud.
Damn it!
Well.
Anyway.
Everyone
I
looks
will
at the
be
map
sitting
like,
somewhere. It doesn't really matter for me.
The idea of maniacal cackling is going on there.
Vickers will quickly start this off because what he has to say is quite short and sweet. It's on the subject of Lady Mizara. As instructed by the king, he did in fact sit in on the interrogation. And you know, Vickers doesn't go into detail. However, it's clear that she's quite good at her work, and she got exactly what she needed. Of that, though, he will say that basically the organization that Mesner Kolsak was basically a part of, he was bribing some, or basically helping progress and bribe payments between some anonymous supporter and the guardsmen who were supposed to be keeping watch over estate in Ferelda. That undoubtedly Mizara's family was in. Also, the organization he's part of basically was slave trading. Specifically, someone of interest to Lady Mizara across the border from Ferelda and to Port Silverswift, which is to the west. On the map there, if you see the rabbit, that's where.
Wait, from where to the port?
Ferelda.
So across the green
Across,
border.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
all the way across. So this is someone Vickers doesn't know who exactly, but it's clear that it's Lady Mizara is interested in that. The contact that he spoke to in the port is someone with the alias, I suppose, of a mouse. So that's kind of the lead that we have at the moment. Also, he admitted to like basically all these crimes, which are awful. And referred to her as possibly like derogatorily as the High Duke's dog, but it lends credence to the belief that perhaps she was basically the High Duke's hand in the more nefarious acts that she might have to carry out for them. But her basically she'll help us out, but her goal would be to go to the port and continue her investigation there.
At some point.
At some point, yes. So that's the update on her. But yeah, mission accomplished so far as that's concerned.
okay.
And you guys needn't worry about Mesnir ever again. You'll just leave it at that.
He is no longer an issue.
I guess I shall then continue with a different matter in hand. I have used this couple of days to research into the EU Blackmail's Go and the Golem. Similarly, it is regarding to an high elven wizard in the ancient past, even before me. So for me, it is very exciting.
What was the name of the wizard?
The wizard is called Todd the Ever Frozen.
Mm.
Who lived, before me about a millennia ago, well, half a million ago. He built a magical tower located to Crown of Ice, somewhere in there, and they built a ice dragon golem in there too.
Ooh.
Which he was sadly not able to figure out how it works.
Right.
The animated heart that he tried to put in there malfunctioned or failed, and the blood of the golem didn't work. it is a highly arcanic golem, though, and if a correct equipment like the Bloodtwister's new heart, it might make it work, and it would be a havoc in any location where it goes.
So when you say new heart, like, is it mechanical heart or like actual heart of a person?
I am uncertain.
But she got
The one that
the heart from the crypt, didn't she?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right?
I presume
one
it,
that-
it would be a mixture.
Yeah, the one that the wizard tried was something called animated heart of ice.
Okay.
But that seemingly did not work for this purpose.
Mhm.
It didn't contain enough of magic. The golem is currently inactive ice statue, but could be made to work. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm figuring
Some
the
good
blood.
info.
I think the blood witch took her way of doing things to this construct, I guess.
Yeah.
So she saw the problem
she's
and was
trying
like,
she's trying to wake up the golem.
Yeah,
to
she's
wake up the
Yeah.
like,
golem.
I'll do my blood magic ritualistic stuff and see if that works.
yeah,
basically,
exactly.
to
That's
wake-
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why she took the heart. Yeah.
A golem built by a high elven racist.
Yeah.
It's humans.
Where was it located? Do we know?
Somewhere in the northern mountains.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the Great Waste that only the High Elves know how to navigate. Wonderful.
I think it's called like the Grove of Ice as a
Yeah.
location,
Well,
but
nice.
But it's up, like it's north of us, right? Like
Yeah.
it's actually, if it got awoken, it would come down here, presumably.
Programmed to hate humans, probably.
Right. Well, that's worrisome.
Yeah, a bit troubling.
It is, yeah.
It is on the spectrum of worry.
it's a disaster.
Also keep in mind, as the golem, it'd probably be outright immune to non-magical weaponry.
Good thing we
Most
all
likely-
have
most
magical
likely does.
weaponry.
Sure.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. Why don't we?
No, we don't.
Why don't we? You use magic?
I wasn't allowed to buy one. I wasn't allowed to buy one.
You have magic.
I was trying.
But you have
I
magic.
don't
You
have
have-
magical weapon. It's a different thing.
No, but you have magic. That's weaponry.
It doesn't matter. It's a column. It's resistant most likely also to magic.
Okay.
This is also-
It's a
So-
fucking column.
Golems are a pain, basically.
Wait, so they're resistant to magic. They're resistant to non-magical weapons.
We're immune to non-magical things and resistance to magic.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so you need magical weapons exact to actually do something.
Yes.
Oh, adamantine weapons.
Well, not to do anything, but to do average. I mean, golems.
Do average.
Yeah.
Yeah, magic still works, of course. It's just diminished. That's fine. But yeah, we have the
Of course.
means.
But the point
Since
is,
it's
an
an ice column,
army of mundane soldiers could literally can't hurt it. So
Yeah. This would be something that we would have to deal with ourselves, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
if they got woken
yeah,
up.
since it's like ice column, most likely immune to ice or cold. But maybe fire.
I don't know, if I made an ice golem and I was an ancient high mage, I would think of making it immune to fire somehow.
Fire as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. this is a fuck you.
You
Just-
don't most likely make it immune to fire.
It's like, oh, it's
Might,
an ice dragon, yeah, it's immune to ice. Ah, it's also immune to fire. Because fuck you.
I mean, that's the kind of big move I like the idea of.
Well, that's a good problem to keep an eye on, because we find the
Yeah.
golem or find the witch, they're probably around the same place. So
yeah, like that definitely needs to be,
Sorted.
if
yeah.
you have ways to track that, yeah, definitely get on top
I
of
have
that.
ideas, but not direct ways.
It might also be something you could potentially consider assigning more studious members of the council to try and track down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look at that in the future. Like,
Yep.
out of session.
Depends on how many resources you're willing to chuck at the problem.
all right.
All right.
Anyone have any other secrets to share?
Well, I can just not exactly secrets, but I have something potentially.
Mhm.
Because I took a private meeting with our dear mayor.
Oh.
Discussing basically what she can do for us and what she can't do, and her decision is basically the same as before. She won't openly support us. However, she has placed 2 of her personal trading caravans at our disposal, which will allow us to move supplies, like just materials, troops, stuff like that can now be moved around with these caravans. Winterheim is also open for us for trade, so we have somewhere to buy supplies and get things that we might need for the force, so that's good. She also has, and he will like fish around in his cloak and then pull out a letter and say, apparently, she also has some quite damaging dirt on Sir Gillian McFrey, the right-hand man of the Lord Inquisitor Valens de Pont. It's currently ravaging the lands. Sir Gillian McFrey, as you might recall, is the squire or former squire of Sir Bolton. But apparently went renegade and joined the Lord Inquisitor because of his zealous nature and some other undisclosed things or things that I might have forgotten. But according to this, the information from the mayor, this might render a bit of a fracture between Sir Gillian and the Lord Inquisitor. If we can supply Gillian with this in a manner that he believes what it's in there, it might help us draw him away from the Inquisitor, robbing him of his right-hand man, pretty much. I have not read the letter myself because that was going to be done in session.
Yes. As you crack it open, I suppose, to read.
Yes, the dramatic voice.
Letter. It's a missive, it looks like, from a Sir Breton McFrey, Sir Gillian's father. It's not clear what party he was writing to, but as you read the letter and come to realize what's written in there, this letter is pretty damning evidence about Sir Gillian's father, about the fact that it looks like decades ago he may or may not have, well, actually quite likely has, based on what you're reading, may have murdered a girl he had been bewedding and had been staying at the place of under the sacred right of hospitality.
Well,
Oh God!
Which, in the church's eyes, would be not good, to say the minimum.
Yeah, Jesus.
It looks like, for the most part, Sir Gillian's father had done his best to hide the evidence and cover it up, though somehow it looks like Mayor Rochelle has managed to intercept some kind of missive regarding this event. So how long she's had this, you don't know.
It's pretty big dirt.
Regardless, though, this is certainly not the kind of thing Sir Gillian would want, as it'd be a massive stain on his family's honour, as well as, potentially having his father excommunicated.
So we do believe that he would actually side with his father on this, because this is actually so damning that he might just redouble in his zeal and be like, yeah, no, burn him, like burn the whole family to the ground. He might go full nuclear.
I mean, the problem here, it would also look bad. It would also reflect very badly on him being given to kind of his own status as a knight, given what his father did.
Right.
Not perfect evidence against Sir Gillian himself, but certainly to try and drive a wedge in. There's options there.
All right.
Just how to best utilize it to get the effect you want.
Yes, definitely that should be employed. I mean,
The reference and to the bottom of Sir Gillian's card there.
Right. We need to track Sir Gilliam down and present him with the evidence. We can't just send it to him because I don't think he necessarily would believe it.
No, he just throw it in the bin and be like, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
You have to like basically present it to him like with witnesses.
I mean,
It's like-
why would we send it directly to the Lord Inquisition?
I mean, we could send it to the Inquisitor. We don't know what he would do, though.
Also, it's only like we send it, he doesn't do anything to it, then we've lost anything. Could
Exactly.
have used it.
Because it might be definitely the thing that the Inquisitor is not an honorable man, and we have suspicions he's not. That he would prefer to keep his, right-hand man here, than to actually
mean,
do what would be
What
just.
if we send it to the church?
So you're saying sending it to
Like
like
the
that?
church will condemn that situation. Like if we send it like
Um,
the reserved mother and like through
Mm.
her.
We certainly could, and I think if we did, they would probably excommunicate him. But then that's not necessarily what we want, at least not right now, because we want to use this as leverage to get the kid away from the Inquisitor. Be like, hey, if you don't leave Lord Inquisitor's service, we will publish this stuff, and your father and your whole family will be dragged through the dirt and excommunicated from the church. You will become hunted by the Inquisitor. So
Wow.
leave by your own
So-
accord, or be damned.
Do we care about that we can blackmail him? Like if we can get him excommunicated and kicked out from the Inquisition, he's a power outside of Inquisition control. Sure, he might go dark, but he's already out of combat.
True. I mean, we don't know though if he will actually be leaving the Inquisitor's service. It might be that he. I'm thinking like historic example, French Revolution stuff is like young nobles who condemned their families and actually led the execution of their own families because they thought they were corrupt and stuff. Like he could do something like that and then redeem himself in the
mean-
Inquisitor's eyes.
If the Inquisition doesn't kick him out, it will be a huge stain for him. Like he's a follower of the father. They are like law and judge, and the execution, I guess sometimes.
Yeah,
I think at this point, like this is all conjecture. We don't know what will happen, and I don't think this is the right time to use this. But it's good to keep in mind what we could do with it, as you're discussing. But I think we need to just keep it in the back of our heads for when we can use it.
Sure.
I think that's all Vicus has, at least, and Halldamir has said that that's all he has. So
Yeah, I have nothing more information.
well, then I would suggest that we adjourn until our meeting with everyone.
What, you wish to summon the council up to the chamber?
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose the question also actually is that we need to basically fill in Lady Mizara on what exactly we are, because we haven't done that yet.
The basic information was relayed to her
Ah.
between now and then.
Fair enough then, yeah. But I guess now she'll definitely get an idea of what exactly who she's dealing with when she gets summoned in here.
We've dragged her into.
I mean, of her free will, she's free to opt out, but she does owe us a favor, so.
You with you declaring with you calling for the meeting to start, the various councillors begin to gather. The first one to arrive being your effectively currently steward, Raiden, who will make his way in. Should probably sit down on this side. He would.
He's got a fancy new border.
Vickers would probably greet him, but also inquire as to how Theo has been since they've been gone.
He was doing well, though he's curiously sticking his nose in everything. But he's doing well.
He grins and says, I doubt that will stop anytime soon.
Next to arrive is Bron Shattershield and his lieutenant, who both make their way over to the more military side of the table. Bron, as usual, having brought the minimum amount of alcohol he needs for the meeting with him.
It's a whole barrel.
He expects whenever nobles are involved, he's going to need a drink.
Gosh, I love dwarves.
He offers a share.
Yeah. We could still take it.
Really early in the day, but he offers a share. So.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Finally, next joining the meeting ends up being a bit of a quarrel you end up hearing.
Oh.
As rather confused conversation down the corridor and lots of questioning as you say, are you Eliza walking? Quickly joining her brother. Followed by your newest council member. He walks in, deciding not to carry all of her rapiers into the meeting and only bringing one.
That's quite
Which
responsible.
rapier is it? Is it one for assholes or the one for...
You believe so? She'll seat herself at the end of the table this side. There's an odd pause, though, as someone seems to be missing.
Yes, where's
Yeah.
Bolton?
Eliza looks over. So Bolton said he'd some unexpected new recruits arrived. Apparently, local Scold warriors.
Rex his head to the side, looks at the rest of the group.
I'm not particularly sure why they're here, except apparently something a crypt.
Oh,
Ah. Yes, okay.
I mean, we did pretty much leave that crypt like spick and span. You know,
Yep.
that crypt has never been that good looking. All right. Well,
The results are a little bit late to the meeting as he has to start. As you actually, some of you can even look up the hour station. You see Spursobot outside trying to deal with a whole bunch of barbarians.
Right.
Wrangles the small troop together and does make his way up quickly, accidentally trudging a little bit of snow into the council room.
That's fine.
There's a long, side glance at Lady Mizara walking past. You think he might know her.
Oh, really?
I figure. I mean, she's a lady, so I mean.
She's no lady.
But that, and your council room almost full, your council has assembled.
All right. Well, Amonas will then start the meeting. He will basically give a short report of the adventure in Manterheim, filling in the details. But the crypt cleaning, the discoveries, the subsequent, investigations into criminal activity. He doesn't necessarily share that the party ambushed and knocked Mizara out in a bathhouse. But
Give us some dignity.
yeah, there's more of a sort of a summary, a sort of little hand wave here on that area, basically trying to introduce Lady Mizara as a lady of many talents that has proved a potentially valuable asset in the past and has agreed to join forces as long as our goals align. which they currently are. Yes. Yeah, no, God, Sir Bolton looks a bit beat up. Is he okay over there?
I didn't even miss with a barbarian accent.
Just a lot of new recruits. A lot of them have no idea how to use their weapons.
Jonas nods. Understood. Well, he looks around the table. Now that you've heard the summary of what happened, is there any questions? Except everyone. No one says anything. He will then make a motion towards the council itself and says, "Very well. Your report. What's the status here?"
Lord Ryden will get up and begin his stewardship report.
Mm-hmm.
Well, over the last several days, I have done my best to reallocate resources from up in the mines down here the best I could. Though I somewhat wish these new caravans would have been an asset beforehand. Regardless, though, my supply of mana crystals is available here now for those of you who are so inclined for such, along with a large supply of lumber and metals. I have also managed to convince a small group of smiths from up in the northern mine to work for us on commission and help supply our men with appropriate gear. In addition, some of those smiths would like to, assuming you don't plan to go out on a mission immediately, the Lord Amanus, they would like to try and start getting you fitted for your new armor.
Almost nods. A regal nod. Yes, he has been waiting for this.
Ryden will sit down for the moment. Liza will then speak up. At this time, it doesn't look like the Duke has noticed that we've taken over his keep, as we expected. And for the most part, we've managed to make sure that any local goblins and other stragglers have been kept away, or otherwise dealt with. It looks like the Inquisitor's forces, meanwhile, have continued to scour the land. It looks like they're preparing for some kind of scouting expedition themselves on the northern border. Ron will then speak up. The knolls continue, however, to harass everything around the border side. They're definitely looking for something. Quite ferociously, actually. They've been scouring the roads at night. They've been mostly avoiding most people, but they've definitely been looking for something up on the northern roads. Haven't managed to figure out what in the bugger it is, though. So Bolton then will push himself up, clearly a little bit aching from just, the training's been rough.
Yeah.
I've managed to recruit together an extra 30 militia, and with 20 well-trained skilled warriors, that now puts our total troops up to about 150.
Okay. How many troops did the Inquisition have roughly around like in total?
Well, he originally started with about, you'll remember this, but the council covers as well. Well, originally, he came here bolstering a group of about 500, but since then he's lost several groups or others have disbanded back home, their zealous fury beginning to die down a bit. I think now he's got somewhere about 250 guarding the city, and then all the rest are out, and the remainder of his forces are out in the field.
All right.
So our numbers are getting closer.
Yes, the balance is shifting somewhat. Good work.
Lieutenant Jackson gets up at this point, a little bit skittish as normal with his paperwork. I've been keeping an eye on all their movements, trying to figure out what the Inquisition's actually, what's on their mind right now. To be honest, it's a bit all over the place. I think you're definitely ahead of them on the whole investigation, though. When it comes to the Blood Witch, they definitely seem to have realized that she's hiding somewhere with the knolls, but I don't think they've realized what she's up to yet. Other than that, though, the Inquisition has also been desperately lashing out just over the edge of the borders. There's been a small clash of them investigating near the bridge across to Reichhold, wondering if perhaps the witch is hiding on that side. Right now, though, their forces don't seem to fully have a grasp of the main objective. What for better or for worse, they're looking for any kind of clue they can get.
Right.
Something perhaps we might be able to lure them with, depending on what we want to do.
So what I'm hearing is that the Blood Witch is hiding with the knolls, maybe?
From all the information you've got, that's very likely, yes.
All right. And she has them whipped up in a frenzy, searching up and down the mountains for her ice golem, most
Yeah.
likely. Yeah.
The Inquisition will have realized she's searching that area, but doesn't have a clue what she's searching for yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Inquisition is clearly searching. The Inquisition is clearly desperate to find any clues on what she's up to.
Yeah, so we're one step ahead in that sense, as you said. So that's good, because we can focus more on how to look for her, because we know what she's looking for specifically. And yeah, as Lieutenant Jackson has said, we can use their lack of knowledge against them to bait them away.
So we could potentially then lure a decent chunk of their forces away and maybe actually take it out with our own forces. That way we whittle down the overall enemy slowly but surely, you know? If we can lure like 50 or 100 away, we have a pretty good chance of just, ambushing it with our forces and dealing them a pretty grievous wound, I think. So that's possible. Or we just lure them away to buy time while we do something else with the main force. Still, 250 people at the capital doesn't really lend our forces much of a chance in a direct assault. And I don't think he would be sending capital forces away necessarily to investigate something that we put out, unless it is very enticing, or all of his other troops are occupied elsewhere.
At his lieutenant for a moment. Well, if they're actually doing a wild goose chase looking across the bridge to Reichhold, perhaps we can use that and just how narrow that is there at Wolf's Creek.
Right.
Catching some of their forces on the bridge, we could easily squash them from both sides.
That's true.
They also say a small problem that if the Inquisition gets new information, they might vigor the soldiers taken away and get more troops back here.
Yeah, if they can, that's the thing, right? I have a feeling that this force that's here, he's not getting reinforcements from anywhere really.
Same, but I'm just bringing the option up.
Yeah, I get it. I was thinking like he's a stranger in a strange land, right? He's waltzed in, killed the Earl, who was very popular, and taken the throne by force. This is, the authority of the church certainly lends him some protection here, but I doubt he's very popular. I don't think there will be a lot of recruits like signing up for him. And if he wants to get reinforcements from the south, he would have to send messengers, and I assume would take months.
We'll speak up a bit here. Certainly, he's done nothing to garner the people's support. With how hard he's been searching and how much he's been pushing the peasantry, their good graces for him has quickly faded already. At this point, they're more in fear of him than wanting to work with him.
Yeah. I like the bridge idea as a way of actually starting like to make a dent into his forces.
Other idea, bring this up now, is if we use a tactic that makes his troops go away and he stays in the capital, we might just go in the capital and kill him.
Yep. If we can lure enough away and weaken the forces enough in the capital that we can actually take it. I mean, that's the overarching goal here for us. Is that or the witch, but we don't know where the witch is at the moment. We do know where the Inquisitor is, so him being the target most at hand might be reasonable for us. That said, how do we track the witch? I assume she emanates a lot of magic, or whatever she's searching for emanates a lot of magic. Can it be scryed somehow?
Yes, but I'm not currently capable of just a spell.
Yes.
My only option currently is to look for the heart. It is a very specific heart, since it is a psionic heart.
Yeah.
And reserve, so I can look for it. But the problem with that spell is it can only go for 1,000 feet for
Yeah,
me
so
to
it's
know the
gonna.
location.
That's a bit close.
I could also ask the lining of the stars for luck, but that is, asking luck of the spirits.
So what level would you need to be like out of character to like be able to cast a proper scrying spell?
Level 11. It's a fifth spell.
Oh, all right, well then.
Divination is a level 4 spell, so that would be level 8.
Level 8, yeah, that's not in the near future. Exactly.
Perhaps
Could we?
I can offer an alternative strategy.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's all well and good that we could try charging north to find whatever tower she's searching for. Perhaps we can do this from another direction. Honestly, she's had enough time searching. I imagine she's probably already found the tower. And she stole the heart quite a while ago. Chances are she's missing something else. There's other ingredients. Otherwise, the knolls wouldn't be searching for anything, would they? If we can figure out what she's searching for and lure her to it, or lure the knoll, or if nothing else, lure the knolls in such a way that we can get the information from them for where she is. That might be a better solution than trying to just hunt for her.
So what else does she need to activate it then? If she has the heart and has the location of it.
Perhaps Ceres knows more than I know?
That is the question, based on what Zed has uncovered. Would you like to try an Arcana check?
Yeah, why not?
Guidance, and I will aid you.
Oh, 8 is then 21.
And guidance.
24.
So she decided on, by the sounds of it, it looks like she's decided on using, as you assessed, using the psionically rich heart of the old Scold King to be the heart of this dragon. The issue, though, if it's The story that Zed poured out also mentioned the dragon's blood froze. Here then, she would also probably need psionically rich blood to be able to pump in the veins. She may be searching out for certain types of creatures or certain individuals with affinities, or otherwise perhaps just trying to seek out good sources of mana crystals to make such herself. That would be your theory, at least, as a potential next step of ingredients you would need if the oral story that Zed found is, accurate enough.
So psyker blood. Where? I mean,
There's not a lot of that floating around in general.
I mean, guess we can throw Vika to the knolls. That's our option, I guess.
hang Vicus up as a very tasty morsel to be to be found.
I mean, she's looking in an area for a reason, right? We could see if we could find psionic traces in that area. Theo is quite adept at finding things like that.
True.
And has a much greater range than Vicus. So perhaps getting it in the territory of the knolls, we might get a good sniff of what direction they're going. At very least.
Sarah, by the way,
Hmm.
would you have the ability to speak tongues?
No.
We
What?
could then, if you could have that ability, capture knolls and ask directly from them.
I mean, sure. It would also be nice if I could do a lot of things, I guess. But
I mean, I know that meeting. The king is monitoring his writings, so you know.
I do not have the ability to speak to knolls at the moment.
Could you have?
Oh, she's a sorceress.
Unlike
so-
you, I cannot change my spells willy-nilly. These are things I learn through experimentation.
Yeah, I know. Sadly, well, it's a different kind of school of magic.
It is just a magic I do not know. I've never tried.
Just purchase a scroll.
Could purchase a scroll.
I mean,
Use it.
I don't have
So
much cash anymore, but you know, if you find a scroll of songs.
But it depends. Because there is, if I remember rightly, there is comprehend languages, but that does not allow a user to speak a language.
does
No,
Vicus's
no,
mind link allow him to speak with creatures?
They need to know a language, but it doesn't matter if we share. We don't need to share the same. They just need to know a
No,
language.
Knoll is a language, it's called Knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I can. But again, the thing about my psychic link is that it's voluntary. So as soon as they feel it, they can cut it off immediately.
Oh, we'll make it voluntary. Don't you worry about that.
Lady Mizara has a wicked grin across her face suddenly.
Yeah, you know. We can. All right. Well, mission number 1 then. Or. All right. So we have capture Noel. From one of the raiding parties and find out what he is looking for.
Okay.
What they're looking for. Using Vicus's mind links to talk to him.
Wait, but like, you can just not have them work. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes, but if we torture him enough, he will make those work, because
I
that
mean-
makes the pain stop.
We can also use the elven charms, you know.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure.
And yes, the other one, lure Inquisitional forces to the bridge so we can ambush them and kill a whole bunch.
Right. So we're gonna just plant them false information that whatever they're looking for is around there, or
That's a good sighting of the witch happening to be seen over there. Kind of what eyewitness reports, Lady Mizara suggests.
Is this the bridge to the left of the?
Yeah. Wolf's Crossing, where you went before.
Yes. Okay. All right. Pretty good. And
Obviously.
as far as getting someone maybe to research about golems in general, I know Zed has already done a bit, but maybe to get someone like on.
I can handle that.
Sure,
Sounds
I
right.
can dump my notes onto you then.
Yep.
You get like a small book of notes of columns.
Sounds like no matter what we're doing here, we're going to need to spend time preparing ourselves.
Yes.
We need to get actually the troops ready to see a proper fight. You're going to need to somehow forge evidence. And some of you are going to have to research a golem.
Yes.
It will take some time.
Alright. Then, for the time being, seems to have our marching orders, unless anyone wants to add anything.
Do you want some animalistic scouting to happen?
Maybe, not in the near future at least, but
I mean, I can just turn invisible and go to capital city, if that is needed.
oh sure. I mean, any information from the capital city is certainly very useful.
I can try. Since Ceres is taking the researching, I can go to do some scouting.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can take a slight step back here, step back for a second as a group.
Uh-huh.
Because it sounds like the court has now got some more long-term actions it needs to try and do.
Yeah.
Research, getting the troops ready, etc. So part of it now is kind of assigning what, if we were to take a block, say take a block of actual, kind of skip forward in time here. For the group to take its downtime action, essentially, as a council.
Yeah.
You need to assign. We'll need to assign what every councillor is doing, including yourselves.
All right.
It's training someone, helping train the troops. It might be doing research. There are many options on the table here.
I can immediately assign myself because I already know what I have in mind. If you'd like me first.
Yeah, you can assign yourselves. You can assign the NPCs first. Just think about what you need to have done, and then assign yourselves.
All right. Well, I guess we should focus on actually what we want to do first, and then fill those in, and then after that. So we have capture a knoll. Was it? Yes.
Yes.
So who
Capture
is
one
this
of the knolls.
something? Yeah. Is this something that we do, or is it something that we send someone to do?
Depends on how dangerous it is. I mean, the knolls are pretty dangerous. We have fought them before, but we would need to find a scouting party and basically take them out, and then take some survivors back home for questioning.
That sounds like a mercenary job to me.
That can certainly be a Bronze Shadow Shield job. Yes. He's fought them before. He probably has the power to make that happen.
So bronze objective over the week is to capture is to capture knolls for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's that, and then we have lure, or basically forge evidence to lure the Inquisition towards the bridge. I would suggest Lady Mizara.
Yeah.
Would that be something that she would be
It would
confident in?
be a role best suited to someone with an espionage skill, so certainly she would qualify.
Yeah. I would either say that or Lieutenant Jackson here. But I think Lady Mizara has the most experience in deception.
In addition, she may be able to help forge magical evidence given her background.
Yes.
Which may be more convincing to the Inquisition.
Yeah, forging evidence of magical activity. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I think it's better if Jackson also join Shadow Shield for this null scouting party.
All right.
Yeah, good idea. And then our third one was to research the golem.
Mm-hmm.
Or just research them in general.
I think.
And you said you'd handle that.
Yeah, I think myself and my apprentice are gonna do that.
Right.
Though I don't want to neglect Theo's training if he is here.
Well, Vickers can take care of that for this one.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You can focus on early Charlotte. I will focus on Theo.
Alright, that's fine. So yeah, Ceres and Charlotte are going to focus on the Golem research, although I know I wouldn't throw away Raiden's scholarly expertise.
Mm.
Question is,
So
do
say
you,
you
the
can't
question,
put multiple people at once, right?
that said, of course, that said, of course, Raiden's also an expert steward, so it depends. Do you want him
Very
more focused
true.
on raising funds for the war, or want him more focused on research?
I think funds are probably more important right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
And
so
he's
I
been
mean,
doing very well.
he
Like
has
when you
been.
leave him to his own devices, he seems to be doing quite good. So
But he can certainly help procure research material. I think that is in a steward's remit,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
so he can help in that regard, I think. Otherwise, yeah, he can stick to his thing. But then, yeah, I mean,
It's basically, do you want his primary focus to be basically like gathering
Yeah, just
taxes,
steward.
or like gathering basically like resources?
nah,
Or do you want it to be focused on gathering knowledge for you?
steward stuff's focus, big time.
Okay.
So that would be everything that we propose to do, and now we probably just look at people who are idle and give them a suitable
Yep.
designation here. So
So idle you've got right now. Lieutenant Jackson by default was just before gathering information on the Inquisition for you.
yeah.
You can continue doing that or do something else.
Does Braun need help because he's a scout, right? Does he need help scouting for knolls and whatnot?
Braun doesn't think he needs the help, but on the other hand, giving him help is not necessarily going to be a bad thing.
Right. Honestly, I think knowing what the Inquisition is doing is very, very, very good asset to have.
I mean, I can also go to do that.
That's
Mhm.
levels up, so you don't necessarily need,
All right. Well,
I
yeah.
mean, I can also go help Sattershield. I'm pretty good in survival and that kind of stuff.
It's up to you, really. What you like. It's best, I think, in this sort of situation where we have to choose. I think it's best that you pick what you would want to do, and then we'll fill in the gap here.
Figure what would you as a player like Zed to be doing, and then the
Yeah.
council, then use the council to fill in the gaps.
I would like to get in at the capital because I would try to get information from the Inquisition there.
All right, perfect. Then we'll have Lieutenant Jackson help Ron then.
Okay, he'll capture knolls as well.
Amanas will, after he's fitted out for his armor, he will help train the recruits. Because the recruits are ostensibly, he's part of the reason these recruits are fighting. They are, by extension, fighting for him. And so, as the Lord of the Land, by extension, he has an obligation to fight and train with these men, beat them into shape.
A hidden boss appears.
Yes, exactly. A new challenge appears, and also like using his substantial like charisma and persuasions to lead, like give them purpose, give them hope, fire them up,
Raise
stuff
morale.
like that. Raise morale and train them up to be proper fighters.
That leaves then Sir Bolton and Lady Eliza. Sir Bolton could certainly also do well to train the troops, given the fact that they're all still pretty green. I mean, to focus on recruiting, not necessarily training.
Yep. So Bolton trains the troops together with Amanas.
As for Lady Eliza, does she have any suggestions for what she might want to do herself?
There's a few options. I could try and assist where Sir Bolton will now be stopping, trying to continue gathering you more men. Certainly I think I could convince some of the people to follow. Alternatively, given the efforts you did down in Vanterheim, I could try convincing the local clergy and shamans down there to lend us their religious support.
We could definitely do with some religious support. We just have men right now in terms of like arms I think that's a good idea for her to do.
Of course, she has plenty of brownie points when it comes to local faiths. So
I
Yeah.
totally agree. If we can get like spell casting support, that would be that would
Yeah,
be something.
I'm even thinking more like religious support and clergy in terms of healing, like for our
Yeah.
men and recovery. Like
Oh,
that
sure.
would be
Yeah.
incredibly useful.
It's-
Also, we do have a lot of pull with the mayor unofficially, so I'm sure that like if we clue Lady Eliza in, she can kind of get some influence there indirectly from her.
She can get a letter from Amanas with a seal to be like, this is an agent of me. Treat her well. And yeah, I totally agree. We don't even if we don't get spellcasters, just getting people who knows like medicine and stuff to help out.
I mean,
help
even
a
if we
lot.
get just a skull picker, because they are pretty good fighters, what I know.
Yeah.
We have
petition,
some, but more is always good.
we can petition local faith leaders for you.
As for Vicus, his entire focus would be on training Theo. Basically, having Theo shadow Vicus around for the duration, getting him involved with basically the court affairs. Vicus's basic disposition right now, he does not want to introduce Theo to combat. The poor boy is 12 years old. That will come at a later time, later years. But for now, getting him familiar with more of the courtly intrigue and having a more of a scout sense would be probably a very, very good application for training.
If you were to try train him here, he is close. He does have enough experience at this point that, admittedly, he's level 0 at the moment, so not much experience required.
Yes.
But actually, kind of fully bring him up to being a full squire status level 1 for you.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Yes, he would definitely do that.
You've preemptively done the base training he needed before during a previous activity.
All right, awesome.
So for the PC side, it is training sidekicks, training troops, golem studies, and spying.
Yep.
Very well then. The council has its goals, and the council then begins to adjourn itself to, well, take these actions for the week. Your first chance of really being like a proper council gathering and then setting tasks like this properly.
That feels like old times.
It's been quite a while since Nicholas has had to lead a council. In fairness, he wasn't used to the king showing up and actually directing it before. But
That's quite true. He was kind of taken aback, but he just let the king roll, and it seemed that he's quite impressed with how the king has kind of taken the role upon himself. Not that he didn't expect it given the oath he's given and the drive he's shown, but still it's very, very promising to see. And he's proud as well. Never tell him that, of course, but yeah, he's proud.
Alan's feel as he sees all the members of the court get up, give him a bow, and then go off on their duties.
Yes.
Yep.
Actually, leader, they're actually, giving him, they're following his orders.
Nods. This is as it should be. He all joking aside, he feels like he is now worthy of issuing commands in certain ways. The group has done pretty well in recent times. They have fought many different difficult battles and challenges and come out on top quite well. So yeah, we're making a name for himself. He is not just inheriting power. He's grasping it. He's worthy of it.
Yeah.
He has worked for it, right? So
Yeah.
and so he's quite happy. He's also happy with his small council, and I mean in his mind probably a little bit surprised that they have stuck around. Zed and Ceres certainly feels like they could have left long ago, because Vickers is special. Like he.
And
Yeah.
he's sworn out to your father, and it has followed down. And yes, while he has certainly wavered over the years, an oath is an oath. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he will do his best to honor it. With that, Amnes will look at the others, nod in appreciation and acknowledgement, and then he will walk out to get fitted in a full plate and then beat the sense out of some recruits.
Jesus.
Probably don't use those here against them. She might
Maybe
want
you
to
get
use
a dummy for some like prowess showing to be.
Yes, cut the dummy in half, and they're like, "Who's volunteering?"
that's probably fine. Just you may end up just executing troops if you use the giant black greatsword you just got.
Yeah. Using a wooden sword.
I have nothing to fear as long as they're loyal.
Is Amanus enjoying his new shiny weapon?
Mm-hmm. Hasn't really swung it at anything yet, but
I
it
imagine
is very
he's doing
shiny.
a few training swings just against sort of a dummy or something at this
Oh
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The dummy be burnt to a crisp.
oh, he can definitely do some damage with this thing. Definitely.
Well, for Amanus, though, as I said, a smith has been set up downstairs in the basement of the keep, using what used to be what used to be clearly a bit of an armory beforehand when this place was actually in use, having converted it now. There is there are a pair of there's a pair of humans and a dwarf and a young female dwarf. It looks like all working behind the all working in a makeshift workshop right now with just a stack of orders for like weapons and arms and.
Female dwarves, do those exist?
Sometimes do.
Mhm.
They are hard to tell though from the males.
Yeah.
As soon as she sees Amanus, though, she immediately drops her hammer and makes her way over, kind of neck craned up, looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they told me you're a big one. Well, so full plate, huh?
He nods. Aye, full plate. I need to be armed as much as I can for combat. And faith alone, although powerful, sometimes needs some help being the shield, as it were. He starts like taking off the pretty old and worn scale, gauntlets he has. Just drop them in a corner somewhere.
Pick yourself and then come over here. I'll give you measurements.
Right. You will submit to the measuring.
She's very picky to make sure that she gets everything right too.
Make sure that the stomach can get pulled in while he's losing that beer belly.
You do get so she's taking the measurements and she's kind of comparing them and seemingly disapproving about certain things.
Excuse
She
me.
was only told it was clear not only to get you armor that would be very solid, very protective, but also make you look stunning.
Oh yes.
If you're going to be the leader, you need to look like it.
That's right. I need like custom filigree work and stuff on this thing.
That means suck it in.
A golden cock piece.
Golden cockpiece, enormous cockpiece.
We're gonna take a book out of Henry VIII's tournament armor.
It's codpiece. Yes.
One piece is not within the budget riding game.
Oh my god.
Not enough metal in the forge for that thing.
You need to suck at that beer belly.
Suck at the bear belly and punch out the bulge, and here we go.
Oh my god.
Certainly spend the next probably the next couple of hours actually with this dwarf as she kind of makes sure she gets everything like kind of all the measurements in place. Tries a few test pieces just to see how to feel. And she informs you that she'll get to work on it. It will take a bit, but she should have it done before the end of the week for you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, after that, he will spend the rest of the days here, unless someone needs him for anything particular. He will spend it training the troops together with Bolton, and he will spend it with personal training. Who is, like, if he want to train himself, like properly train, who would be the best, like, swordsman in the camp? Is that Sir Bolton, perhaps?
Bolton is probably he's the one closest to your fighting style, and he's certainly skilled. By no doubt. You actually feel like Sir Bolton's raw skill of a sword, like from experience, might just be might even be higher than yours, though certainly age fitting to him a bit.
Excellent. Then, then during the days we shall work the recruits, and then after eventide and meals and prayers, he will schedule some private lessons with Sir Bolton.
You can do so. Sir Bolton is a rather defensive fighter for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly values keeping himself and his troops alive over taking risky approaches. His defense is a pain to get through. Even with your best tactics, it's really hard to land a solid blow on him.
Yeah.
Something perhaps though that you can appreciate.
I think also we will to since we both are training the troops, we'll probably have like some mock battles and whatnot in front of the troops where we go sort of all out to try to show them, like proper high skill fighting. Sorry, I'm very hiccupy today.
Oh, that's fine. Certainly, that could be quite interesting for the troops, seeing the two of you, spar back and forth.
Yep. And Amanas had been. He feels older than he is. Like his hard living has certainly grated on him, but he feels like he's also shaking a lot of the rust off, and a lot of the like flabby fat is starting to come off, and he's becoming more and more of a lean, mean fighting machine. And it feels like he's close to a breakthrough to actually be able to like move and attack more and stuff in combat. He just needs some more training.
Perhaps hinting towards next level.
That's right. That's right.
At this time, it's also a good time for you to learn about Sir Bolton's companion abilities.
Yes.
Firstly, Sir Bolton understands, like it's very clear as he's talked to his people and as he's kind of been going out doing diplomatic efforts. He may be not the most charismatic person in the world, but he has wisdom and experience of dealing with the bullshit of court and just knowing how people react to pressure. Great diplomat. You gain advantage on insight checks when he's with you to tell if someone is lying or trying to mislead you.
All right.
Fortified shield wall. Once per combat, negate one weapon attack or spell effect that hits you or an adjacent creature and deals hit point damage. Neither you or Sir Bolton take any harm from this blow.
All right.
Nice to no so.
All right. Nice to cancel out a crit. Nice. Yeah, that's what Amanas is doing.
Also have a good proper time to spar with someone, of similar skill level instead of just bandit mooks and knolls and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Sir Bolton's been a soldier for years and years. He's not had to fight, admittedly, undead horses.
No,
Otherwise,
he hasn't sworn a sacred oath, and he's not clad in the iron faith of Amanas. So,
He's certainly not. He is simply a very skilled warrior.
Yeah, the adjacency target for his shield is also very good. So if you're summoning melee all the time, you can protect someone else.
Yeah. As a note for Amanas, Sir Bolton is just as skilled, however, not only just as skilled though when he's using a sword and shield, which is his normal thing, or a mason shield, but he's also fairly skilled with a halberd as well.
Hey. So something Amanas is interested in.
Because the best defense is keeping the enemy at bay.
Yes, thinking of the future Sentinel feat, Amanas agrees.
Meanwhile, You have decided to undergo the task of trying to research a mythical golem from over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Typical Sunday.
With limited resources. To say the least, this is not going to be fun. Well, perhaps it will be. Depends on how much you like reading really, really old, dusty, and incomplete scrolls and books.
Well, I've read Amanas's diary.
Whoa! There's a smite coming.
That's a mean girls move.
Yeah,
right
just
there.
find me
just-
first.
such a mean girl, Ceres.
You and your new apprentice can certainly sit down and do their best to research the topic. To say the least, though. Great question is, what exactly is Sarah's hoping to divine here with her research? Is she looking like, is she specifically aiming at like the Wizard Tower? Is she trying to learn more about like what the strengths and weaknesses of Golem would be?
No. We already know that the Blood Witch has an idea. We know that she has a psionic heart and she probably needs something like psionic blood or something else. I want to try and figure out what could be used that is in this sort of region. And then find out a bit more about the runnings of the Golem in turn, like weaknesses or resistances and stuff like that. But I think we already have an idea of his resistance.
Basic idea, but
Yeah. But I think she already knows where it is, and we're aiming to cut her off before she even goes there, right? As a group.
I mean, where the tower is at the moment.
Hmm?
You know, it's in that mountain range. You don't know where the tower is.
No, I'm saying that the Blood Witch knows where it is, right?
He does, yes.
So we wanted to get to her before before she even got to the tower to start doing the ritual, right? Talking to the party as a general.
Yeah, that's the plan. Assuming she hasn't already done so, that would be the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
She may be there, but just lacking the ingredients.
yeah, but so we want to try and find. Firstly, I want to find what the next ingredient she might need is.
Okay.
But obviously it's research. You can find out stuff along the way. So although that's the aim, finding out about weaknesses of the Golem and the location, but definitely focusing on the next reagent that she's probably aiming for.
There's a particular place she goes for this research. Does she have a particular an archive of any kind in mind, or is it, or nowhere in particular?
Do you even know of an archive? I mean, there is the little, like, church, temple, that we went to where Theo was, that had
The
some
Abbey, yeah.
scripture.
It does have an old historical library there, yes.
That could be a interesting point of call. Otherwise, we don't really have access to anywhere else that I know of.
Would Vanterheim have any
No.
there are
Vanterheim
skulls there, right?
Vanderheim has some of the skull leaders there who might.
I wanted to talk to the Scold leaders at some point anyway, so going to them wouldn't be a terrible idea. Yeah, so Vanterheim, the Abbey. I think those are the only two places I know of.
Probably at the moment the only two places you've got easy access to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As you and your apprentice get on horseback and ride out again. And the life of a scholar is not always sedentary.
No.
You get to sit down after you get there.
Yes, several days once she arrives, but
Yeah.
go ahead and make me a Arcana check, please. As you have Lady Charlotte with you, you have a +2 on this. You can also, if you wish, spend money to try and gain additional bonuses on your roll. It's up to you how much you want to spend, though. 50 gold pieces for a +1 to a maximum of 250.
I mean, I got 50 on my person. Is there any in the treasury that could be
We
used?
did split it last time, so you have
Oh.
400. Let me double check. 485 gold and 5 silver pieces.
Oh,
Which you
let
could
me
use.
add that. 485.
I will requote Dark's on Discord.
Whilst you empty the party's personal treasury.
Yeah.
Nice, okay. Alright. Yeah, then I'll use the 250.
That's +5 from that and +2 from Charlotte helping you.
Okay. So that's a +7.
Yep.
Alright, let's see. 21.
I'll make a note of that. Okay. Actually, for that matter, quickly skipping back with Amanus and the troops. I'm curious to see how inspiring you are for your troops. How much you manage to actually, how much you either fear or awe you manage to put into them. Would you like to try and persuade your troops? If Jonas is here or not, I don't know.
Yes, I am here. Sorry, I went to the bathroom. Persuade my troops. Yes, most certainly.
You can also get a +2 from Sir Bolton being with you.
Good doke.
They bribe the troops.
You can always technically spend money to try and make tasks easier. It'd be less bribing the troops in this case, I think, than just like buying, like just flat out, but just buying them even better equipment than what was already on purchase.
Right.
So just to clarify, because you were away when Dark mentioned this, it's 50 gold per plus up to 250 for +5, right?
Moment, yeah, as a rate you can boost these skill checks by.
And I am inspiring the troops just to be more awesome.
To be more awesome and to do better in their training.
Sure. You know,
Potentially level up more of them.
let's. We do have some money after splitting the pile. You know what? Yeah, I'll toss like 100 gold on this.
+2 from that, and then a +2 from Sir Bolton.
+4. So this roll +4.
Yep.
So that's an 11.
I rolled a 2. Just damn it.
You know, you crunch a fresh shoulder. It's been a while since Amanus has even tried leading an army.
Yeah, he's like, what? Talking to people? I don't understand. I have a +6, but
Mean people, whack. Whoops, I need to knock you out.
actually there should be one more.
Ooh, 12.
Yeah, so 12.
Note of that. So that's good to know. Okay. Zed, during this, you've decided to try and infiltrate into the capital.
I also have a side goal that I will bring you up.
He's going to betray us to the Inquisitor.
No.
Had
I
the
want to
opportunity
use
to that.
some of my time to seek that goddamn tankard in the capital, if I can.
Did I hear you correctly saying tankard?
Yes, I want.
Right,
This
okay.
This
Um,
gift.
I know exactly what you were looking for,
Yes.
yes.
It is a gift that I want to get.
Well, there's no guarantee you'll find it.
Yeah,
Well,
this is the set goal.
Why don't you roll me a why don't you roll me a charisma persuasion check
For the tankard?
to try, as you're hunting the markets, and to see if you can find a seller of that particular item.
Let's. Can I get guidance for myself?
It's kind of a long task. Guidance isn't really appropriate for a long task.
Sure. No, 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 no.
Well, thankfully, the item you're looking for is technically a common item. So, good news and bad news. You do actually still manage to find someone willing to sell it to you, but you're being upcharged.
Ooh,
What is upcharge?
costs more.
Yeah, but like how much is?
The item in question here will cost, let's see, it's a common magic item, so the asking price should normally be 1d6 plus
10
1.
to 60 gold.
It's actually 20 to 70 gold by the equation. Okay, it's going to cost you 60 gold in total.
Pay that. I can pay the 60 gold. If it works, I will test it before it works. Because I know how it will work.
You want to make sure you're not being sold just a regular cup.
Yes. This is important.
Like some alcohol poured in. Glug, glug. Pull out some more. Glug, glug.
That's
You
good.
believe the item is as being marketed.
Good. I shall pay the 60 gold.
This guy's no asking price apparently was apparently a lot less than that, but you know, Zed didn't do his best.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care. At least I get the item. That is all that matters for me. Now look for the Inquisition, what they're doing.
Yes, you want to spy on the Inquisition, and you're doing so as an animal, I presume.
Mainly as an animal or as an invisible elf. Or like pass without trace. Listening in and doing it as
So
an
it
animal.
sounds like what kind of means is stealthing and trying to approach situations where you might overhear stuff.
Yeah, so I would try to go with like a perception. It would be like the main goal. Because I can easily be stealthy as a like animal for 4 hours
Okay.
in a day. Actually, I can then short rest and get it back, I think.
Go ahead and make me a stealth check here if you wish.
Sure, like stealth check first. Yeah.
And given using multiple cast out traits that can last you for several hours, that's fine if you want to do that.
Yeah, like I have spells to spend.
So that is a 21, I presume. Okay.
21?
I see stealth check in chat.
11 I roll.
The plus
Oh
10.
yeah. Yes.
Trace.
Yes.
Okay. It's 21 to sneak around the Inquisition. And the last part comes down to you, Valky, for the PCs.
Oh,
You don't have a roll you need to make, depressingly.
I see.
No real role needed here for you. And you've already mostly described what Vickers is up to.
Yep.
Introducing Theo to the court, trying to get him more familiar with just just how things operate.
Mm-hmm.
trying to train him to be kind of a page for the court, as it were. Part of the issue is also he's really undergeared for it. He's kind of undergeared, doesn't really have the appropriate attire and such for being a page of the court.
Can I pay to get some gear for him?
Yes, you can. The appropriate amount he needs would be, let's see, 1d10 times 10 gold pieces.
Okay. Would you like to roll it, or would I?
Roll it yourself.
Okay. 1d10 times 10. I'll just roll the d10. So 70, right?
Get him fully equipped.
Yes, I will gladly spend that because I have not spent any of my slay yet. So
In that case, there is no difficulty in doing the required training to get him up to his first proper level and unlocking him properly as the apprentice.
woohoo!
It also means that you will get the option to add. This is something you don't have to choose immediately, but you get to add a cantrip from the sorcerer list to his spell list.
Oh, he doesn't have anything currently, or
He does have stuff on there currently,
okay?
but his selection right now is very limited.
Yes.
But obviously, training him, he's able to pick up a bit more ability.
Okay.
How do we do this training? What? I missed it.
This is what I chose to do for my downtime. So
Okay.
No role was needed in this case, since it's just kind of getting him up to the initial.
yeah, I just paid to get him some gear.
Yeah, right now, let's see. Yeah, his selection of things on the sorcerer list is basically non-existent for the most part at the moment.
Okay.
So almost anything you'll give, almost anything you give him is he's not going to currently have.
Right.
Currently, the only cantrips he has is a unique cantrip, well, mostly unique cantrip for him, and Mage Hand.
Hmm.
He also has Minor Illusion, technically. So there you go.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, you're free to pick any one of your choice that you think would be useful for him to have out of it.
Okay. I do have one in mind immediately.
You can handle it whenever you want to handle it. If you've got it now, you can do it now.
Yeah. I'll do it now. It is from Tasha's Call on Everything. It's Mind Sliver. I figure would be thematic for him to have.
That one actually he will not pick up, largely because his existing ability is already fairly close to that.
Okay, then my second option then would be just plain old Minor Illusion. Or does he already have that?
I just have Minor Illusion, Mage Hand, and essentially something that's similar to Mind Sliver he's already got.
Yes.
But he gets to add a fourth one on. So
Okay. I'll think about it then.
yes, go ahead. It's not immediate. You have to do it.
Yep.
So just figure out eventually what you think would be useful.
Mhm.
With that though, let me look through the results for the rest of you. As Valkyrie's doing that. Amanas, of course, you and Sir Bolton are currently training the troops up.
Yep.
Right now, you currently have, starting as you had 80 peasant militia who were complete rookies and had no idea what they were doing. And 2 fairly green house guards as well, who didn't really know what they were doing. They were technically armed, you can only do so much arming peasants with pitchforks. But teaching them some technique, you certainly feel like you could have been more productive with your training time, but early days, troops aren't used to it, you're not used to it. And also, who the hell is this like dark-winged person coming out and training. I don't know you at this point.
He wouldn't necessarily pop his dread aspect in front of the troops. He thinks that might be a bit much on the first day, but yeah, that's okay. You know, this takes a while to get in shape. As you said, he hasn't really led troops in a while or ever, so we'll work on it.
Manage to get at least 20 of them to be like at least 20 of the candidates you think by the end of the week are looking a bit more than just green, just green peasants.
Yeah,
Opposed to they've got some. They somewhat know what they're doing now.
Basically, basic strategies. Put pole arms into lines. The ones in front brace. The one in the back stab over them. Tries to do basic stuff like that.
Managed to get at least 20 of them more comfortable with using some of the more advanced weapons, like the halberds and such, and actually knowing this kind of formation.
Oh yeah, if we can get like a full halberd unit, that'd be pretty awesome. It's really good. Yeah.
So it's certainly good though, at least having now, people other than the mercenaries who know what they're doing, well, and the barbarians, but the barbarians, take them with a grain of salt.
Yeah, they're more like shock troopers than anything else. Like you send them in and they sort of just make a bloody mess out of everything.
Disrupt enemy lines.
Yep.
Your militia here is kind of the bulk of your forces, so kind of important to actually get them to hold their ground.
Yeah, for sure.
You also seem to get a bit more comfortable with you around, which is something.
Good, because he hasn't really seen or met any of these people. He's mainly been either in council meetings or out on his own quests. So having actually met the troops, is interesting. Like he would probably just take stock and try okay, so who are these people actually?
A lot of them seem like they are. A lot of them seem like they're very much just kind of the common peasant folk, people who were farmers. A couple of them were hunters who kind of used to holding a bow, so they've had some kind of experience there. Other of them were just mine workers who, to be frank, right now are rather upset with the Inquisition knocking on the door all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like most of them, though, are here not really for you right now, because most of them don't have a clue who you are.
Right.
They're definitely either for Lady Eliza or because they hate the Inquisition. But it kind of makes sense for the territory. And the Inquisition's been kind of a dick.
Right.
Still, though, they seem to be, you seem to be pulling them together slowly. Yeah, for the most part, though, they're just kind of the common peasants. Farmers, miners, hunters, fishermen.
That's fair enough.
There is one guy who tries using fishing spear.
A harpoon.
It is quickly replaced by a more appropriate long spear or something similar.
Sure. Maybe all the fishermen could be using whips because they're used to fish with a stick, a rod, and a line.
Next to the enemy.
Spiked whip. Yes.
Oh no, that's an image, isn't it? Dragging the Inquisitor through the town in a fisherman's net.
That would be kind of funny, yeah.
Yeah.
You're fully aware. The Inquisitor would just nuke your forces if he personally was fighting them. He's rude to have spells like Fireball. Your troops would not hold up well against if he was personally assaulting them.
That's fine. It's that's the likes of the council to fight the Inquisitor, not poor fisherman peasant.
They just need to get you close enough.
That's right.
Meanwhile, in the capital, lurking around shady corners, and as a cat just entering into the inquisitorial barracks, Zed having a good look around, a good snoop. well, you can certainly sense there is the unrest among many of the troops who thought that they'd be done up here already and could start going home. A lot of the foreign ones, at least. Meanwhile, of course, a lot of the ones who originally occupied the castle to begin with don't really seem the most happy with supporting the Inquisitor, given how much he kind of bull rushed his way in. There is a surprisingly large number of people currently in inquisitorial lockup for having defied the Inquisition's orders. Like, they can't go through executing half the original Guards forces, but they, like, what do you do with them while they're being disobedient?
If nothing else, that sounds like something, we can, if half of the guard are like imprisoned, if we can prison break, that'll be pretty awesome addition to our forces.
And perhaps a good covert op during your assault.
That's right.
The city is fairly well defended otherwise, though. The soldiers are well built up, and it's difficult to. It certainly still would be difficult to siege the place. It was defensive. It was built defensive, and that's not really going to change. You don't manage to get any personal sight of the Inquisitor, which is not the biggest surprise, though. He's probably held up in strategy meetings and tactical stuff. Though one thing you also find is you do find a group of the local you do find a group of some of the clerical forces seemingly rather distressed by the fact that by some of the populace seemingly they feel like some of the populace isn't supporting them, that they might be planning to do something. But there's no way that they would there's no way they would try revolting. What? No. Some of the low-level acolytes are starting to get suspicious that something is up like this. By the way, the peasants are starting to react to, well, the peasants know you guys are building a force. Word is getting around. Even if the Inquisition has been too blind to hear it. So it's good to know that they're starting to catch on, and your veil of secrecy won't last forever.
And is the mood from the peasants are like, oh yeah, soon they totally gotta get their asses kicked, stupid Inquisition, ha 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 ha, or is it like, oh no, we need to,
There's definitely been clear that there's been a couple of peasants, not the majority, just a couple that have been rather vocal. That at some point they're going to get that the Inquisition is going to get driven out.
Yeah.
And some people like and there's been definitely some peasants apparently who have been locked up for openly supporting the now dethroned late Earl.
All right.
Because the Inquisition is branding him being a traitor, but some peasants definitely won't let that drop.
Right.
It's certainly keeping them occupied, though, if nothing else. But they're certainly aware that the peasants are stirring, and they're going to be clearly wanting to crack down soon on any kind of insurgent activity if it keeps up.
Sure.
And unfortunately, you guys qualify as insurgent activity.
What? I can't be subversive. I'm the king. I am the state.
The Lord Inquisitor argues otherwise.
Lord Inquisitor has some other business coming soon.
Still, though, Zed, it's still good information that Zed kind of comes to, though, figuring out one about the sheer number, just the large number of guard forces imprisoned, and how the Inquisition is kind of on edge at the moment.
Yes.
If only I have some fire that I could throw in this mess. But no.
But it's good info, like especially all the guards and stuff, because then we know, we need to concentrate on the operations while taking the capital should definitely be to let loose the open up the prisons and lead the guards to a glorious reclamation of the city.
If you can perhaps arrange for an infiltration squad to get in there.
Yep.
Some of your more sneakier agents.
Yeah, Lady Mizara and Lady Eliza seems to be the perfect group for that stuff. All right, well, good to know.
Lastly, there is the research team, who is bouncing back and forth between speaking to old Skold shamans and delving through an old church library. It's difficult to find anything that's reliable, given the age, but, well, where there's will, where there is sufficient amount of money to spend, and where there's a little magical touch, the girls definitely seem to find some information at least. For finding, you'd certainly agree with the prospect that you came with all before still. Hard to animate it, and they need some source of magical blood to run through the veins of this creature. Ceres actually comes to a bit of a realization when it comes to the pattern of where the knolls have been attacking.
Interesting.
They've been attacking the same road area where the knolls had previously been driven off by Red.
Yeah, I figured as much, honestly. I had an inkling that they were there because of traces of Theo, and I guess
It definitely looks like these. Then realizing that there is some kind of psychic creature running around would be the perfect thing to harvest reagents from.
yeah.
Gosh, that's chilling. Glad we got him.
Obviously, he's not there. But it definitely gives implications of what they were up to. Given they're unlikely to find him for obvious reasons, at that point they'll probably be trying to look into other creatures who are potentially good, who are more on the magical nature to try and claim. Which, admittedly, there aren't a lot of just roaming around all over the place. Which is something. You do know, however, looking through your research, that there is a old. You do know about. You managed to discover what seems to be an old. The ruins of what used to be an old settlement, just a little bit further up the riverbank from the mine. That apparently got somewhat overrun by. That apparently got overrun by strange frosted oozes. If they can't find the magical blood in the creature they're already hunting, they're probably the closest creatures you can imagine that they could probably use. Many oozes tend to be quite good for magical reagents in general. They're just a pain to deal with because they tend to like destroying equipment and are hard to transport.
Where are
But
these?
they seem like the closest source of things. I will mark it on the map for you.
Thank you. 'Cause, I mean, I wouldn't mind some reagents to have in stock.
I'm marking them as a view on the map for interest.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, even if they're not necessarily used, and even if she doesn't, even if the a witch doesn't end up going after them, hey, good source of reagents for you, I guess.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
As for the golem itself's weaknesses and resistances, that's, I mean, it's a golem. As discussed before, they're a pain to deal with. But more accurately than just a pain to deal with, let me get you the... So a golem like that is very likely going to be kind of in your mind. It's obviously going to be immune to ice magic. No particular surprise there. And it's very high likelihood to be immune to poison as well. Normally, you would think that a golem like that would also be immune to psychic magic. But if she does end up using psychic components like this to build, to kind of animate it, then likely that resistance will probably no longer be there.
Okay.
Ooh, that's good.
That's very good for Vickers.
Ow.
Beyond that, looking into the notes on Toff the Unmelting, or the Ever Frozen, I believe was the correct. Yes, the Ever Frozen. It does look like his various structures in his history made of his kind of magical ice did not melt under fire. Simply shooting flame at them didn't tend to work.
Dude, fucking called it. Fucking called it. Dude had a
However-
millennia to research, you know?
However, while that is true, that wasn't the entire end of it. While fire alone couldn't melt it, it did still have a weakness to particularly intense sources of light. Cooking it though.
Intense sources of light.
Yeah, maybe radiant.
Radiant damage.
Radiant.
Radiant damage being actually being not being affected by its magical resistance.
All right.
Otherwise, of course, it is resistance just spells in general, as golems tend to be.
Yeah.
You would also think, looking at this thing, given he was shaping it like a dragon, it very likely has a weapon designed for just taking out armies of mooks, likely some kind of frozen breath weapon.
Right.
Need
Need some resist or something.
yeah, we need some resist ice here.
But yeah, if you want something that's going to bypass its magic resistance, radiant damage is a good choice if you have it.
Well, we have one source of it.
Otherwise, avoid ice magic and poison magic, or just poison in general, because it's not going to do a damn thing.
Or just normal magic won't do anything.
At least normal magic will do something, just resistantly. And yeah, of course, you'll need magical weaponry if you want to hurt it. Thankfully, your group is kind of okay in that regard, at least personally.
Yeah.
Unless she doesn't use the psychic thing, and in that sense, Vickers will need a magical weapon that isn't psychic. In that case. But
Unfortunately, you don't manage to find out if there's any other ingredients she might need.
Okay.
But you do at least manage to find out about strengths and weaknesses. You also know it can be immune to various conditions. You cannot paralyze, frighten, petrify, poison, exhaust, or charm a golem.
Mm-hmm.
It also has just insanely long dark vision, so it will see you.
Right.
Typical construct bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's just going to be an absolute mountain of hit points on top of its resistances. So
Yeah.
good luck.
We need like a orbital magical, non-magical nuke that is weapon based. I don't know, like a really long spear.
Super
From the
super long.
sky.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think
the
they
other
call it
thing
a
you-
pike.
Yeah, the other thing you do think will be an issue potentially is, given it is a construct that's going to be exuding just an aura of ice around it, unless she makes modifications, of course, but based on the original specifications, it's the sheer cold that's going to be outputted is not only going to be harmful to you, but will probably just likely start trying to freeze you in place, making potentially making it hard to move, slowing or just restraining any fighters near it.
Yeah, we need some gear before we come up against that thing for sure.
And as a note, so while it can't necessarily be melted easier with fire magic can certainly be useful for trying to protect your friends.
As an environmental thing, you mean? Or
I mean, if the area is sufficiently, if there's loads of fires going off in the area, it'll keep all of you warm at least.
gotcha.
So a fireball still has uses.
That's some really good info, though. Good work.
Awesome. So hit it with Radiant. Definitely one thing I don't have any access to right now.
But it's good to know that it's its main kind of weakness.
Yep. We all need to take notes now, apparently.
It's also the same thing if you get to the sealed wizard tower. It's probably the weakness of the tower itself.
Oh.
Given, the ice didn't melt under. The ice was resistant to fire, but it wasn't. But enough solar energy will be able to cook through it.
Okay.
But like get into the front door basically, you can use Radiant. Interesting.
There's always a weakness to everything.
Oh, we need to bring some clerics with us.
Downside, you don't really have any clerics.
Yeah.
I have one radiant spell.
And you have a paladin.
Is it Thorn Whip?
It's Moonbeam.
Oh,
That's
Moonbeam
pretty
is
good.
really good actually.
Yeah.
Beam it.
Yeah, currently your sources of the radiant damage are fairly low.
Moon Tiara attack.
Currently just have a paladin and a druid.
Yeah.
But hey, at least you know now.
I have decent radiant damage if I have to.
I mean, you have smite. It's pretty
Yeah.
fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have upwards of 4 smites.
And then you're smiting the tower to get in there.
Is the golem immune to fear?
The
Can I frighten it?
The golem is immune to frighten condition, yes.
No.
I mean, any of the knolls who will likely be who will be serving the witch probably won't be immune to fear though.
I suppose.
But the big stumpy golem, if it is woken up, is not going to be afraid of anything. It will be a mindless killing machine. Almost mindless killing machine.
Out of curiosity, because I don't remember how sorcerers work, when do you get to choose more meta magic options?
It's every
Yes.
few
you do
levels.
when you level up.
Yeah.
Because transmuted spell is probably a good way for you to get any type of damage type you want. It
Yeah.
lets you change.
I believe it's like every few levels you get. Oh, actually, no. There's a big jump between them. The next one's 10th level.
Oh shit! All right,
Yeah.
fair enough though.
Also, I see prestidigitation is your choice of a spell for Theo.
Yeah, it has some good uses for scouting, like being able to make a mark on surfaces for an hour and lighting out stuff, and also just like effects that can be used for misdirection and stuff. I think it'll work well with his illusion.
And moreover, prestidigitation has uses for just a more social context.
Yes, as well.
Also
like to keep himself clean.
If he comes back from skulking and spying somewhere, he needs to look clean for the court, right?
Exactly.
Don't want to arouse suspicion. Okay.
Also, I suppose as part of that, Lady Mizara is forging evidence, but that means she would still be in here, right?
She's sometimes here and sometimes out.
Okay.
You can catch her if you want to during the week.
Yes, I think Vickers would like to introduce Theo to her as someone who would be in the court now more often, just like a formal introduction. and then maybe as an aside, basically explain most of the particulars about Theo. Like, obviously not in front of him; that would be a bit rude to him. But yeah, just to explain who he is and what he's
I
doing.
imagine part of this kind of initial training for as a page, also just introducing him to just everyone in general.
Exactly.
Okay. Certainly, Lady Mizara seems quite intrigued by your introduction of him.
Yeah, you'll give her the deets about his circumstances because I feel she would have some sympathy considering his age. So
She definitely seems to have. She definitely seems to go almost a bit soft seeing him here.
yeah,
A side of her she doesn't tend to show too often, but. Yeah. Everyone's got weaknesses.
yep. Because is using them.
Okay. Also, I like the sheer range of alignments you currently have on the council.
Yeah, we got a good spread here.
For neutral, lawful good, chaotic good, lawful evil, chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Who's Mizara or Lawful Evil? Okay. Fair enough.
Hey,
You guys
at least
not think
at least she is the controlled and calculating kind of evil.
Yeah.
Lawful Evil is the evil you can work with.
Yes.
As it turns out, though, you know, put someone in the dungeon and put her and ask her to interrogate. She is not going to be kind down there.
No, definitely not.
That's not what I want in my head torturer. Or as I call them, truth finders.
You want a kind tooth finder?
No.
I mean, she'll be kind. She'll be kind enough to make it. She'll be kind enough to offer you a swift option if you would tell the whole truth.
There you go.
No. In that case, where's her red hot blades?
Yeah. Yeah, Vegas has seen her torture. It's effective.
And gruesome.
Yes,
Clean, but gruesome.
indeed.
She's a married professional in the dark arts.
Yep.
Okay. Otherwise, though, the council also all takes their kind of plans forward as we're going. Ryden gathers funds for your forces, which is good. Lady Eliza is petitioning the faith leaders. How successful are you, Lady Eliza? Let's find out. 6. Who's that?
Our rolls are not super hot tonight, I feel.
No, some of your rolls have not been great.
I don't know. I've been doing all right. I'm gonna come back to a bunch of losers. That's what's gonna happen.
Lady Eliza doesn't do her best. Unfortunately, isn't able to get you any spellcasters of any kind.
Just
All right.
reinforces Ceres's belief that, everything stands and falls with her, right?
Lady Eliza, though, however, is able to convince a couple of the grey-robed acolytes from the church down in Anderheim to join here as medics.
Oh, that's nice. We need those.
So you at least have a couple of people here who have some basic training in medicine to help patch up the troops.
Yeah.
Great.
Or just take care of the more civilian stuff you've got around, the smiths and builders and such. Unfortunately, military operations still need civilians. But I will add that you now have 5 doctors on staff.
Hey.
Stuff.
Well, 5. Yeah, not really full doctors, but 5.
Practitioners.
Yes, 5 healers.
Are you a doctor? No, I'm a practitioner.
More like 5 nurses, I think, would be more accurate. But
Yeah.
It's better than nothing.
Sure.
And hey, having a few people with the cloth around, even if they're not capable of spellcasting, there's got to be something good for morale for the people. Because like how hey, you've got a tiny bit of religious support now. A
Oh,
tiny
sounds
smidge.
good.
Look, there's only so much you can do with a 6 on her roll.
Sure.
I heard you liked knolls.
Mm,
Yes.
Bron and Lieutenant Jackson did quite well on finding their knolls, though.
Okay.
At the week's completion, they end up dragging back in chains a dozen bruised and beaten and now captured knolls.
All right.
But while most of them probably aren't the greatest for you, 2 of them are some of the knoll shamans.
all right,
Uh,
all right, all
So
right.
they're likely to actually have some valuable information about something at least.
And we put them to the question with, I believe, Lady Mizara and Vicus.
Yep.
Reveal to us your secrets.
We won't go into the exact details of how Lady Mizara will get them to talk, but
No, I don't need the details. I trust that the 2 of them can make them talk.
yeah.
that will be certainly something we'll be able to cover them. Does Vickers have any ideas what he wants to try and squeeze out of them?
Yes. If they're being directed by someone, if so, who's that? And what exactly they've tasked them to do? Where are they? And if they have whatever they're tasked to find or do, where is it? If they know. Basically, like these are the abstract questions, but what he's trying to focus in on is where basically the blood oath is, where's this golem, if they know, or anything that could indirectly lead them to that conclusion or knowledge.
It's an uncomfortable experience interrogating.
Yeah.
Not seeing interrogation, but also having a cackling, basically hyena in your mind.
Yeah. It's probably a first for him actually, and it's a bit unsettling, but like it's how would I say this? For Vicus, it's like anything he does that is unfamiliar to him, it almost like he has this almost like manic like excitement to just experience it because he's lived a long life and everything has gotten so familiar that something new, even if it's quite dangerous on the surface, like he's kind of like a thrill seeker in that way. He wants to chase that. So yeah. He's determined.
Vickers, can you please roll me a intimidate check against the knolls?
Yes, I can try that.
I have advantage here.
All right.
Trust me, they are scared of Lady Mizara right now.
Ah, beautiful. I'm proficient, so I can use my thing. Where's my... Wow. I would like to use my psychic roll on that. What the fuck? 8. What is with the rolls, guys?
Well, unfortunately, the first knoll prisoner ends up being of no use to you.
Yeah, I figured.
They don't talk and end up having to be
Dispose of.
yes. They become a new rug for someone.
Yes.
You got a lawful evil from person handling the disposal.
Really, do you want hyena rug though? I mean, I like hyenas, but I don't know, the fur is kind of,
Hey, if nothing else, some noble out there will want to buy it.
I suppose.
You don't have to know where it came from.
Oh no.
You retry, however, because you have 2 captured.
All right, you want me to roll again?
Yes.
Okay. I will not say anything. I'm
You
just
can,
gonna roll.
you can do it. I believe in you.
Okay. If there is more to be gleaned by getting higher, I will roll my thing.
More can be gleaned by rolling higher.
Haha, 22.
Stop! Stop! What you're in my head. What are you?
You're a apparent nightmare if you don't tell me what I need to know.
I smell it on you. Crystal. You have crystal. You are crystal. You're like what Priestess wants. Yes. You're like what the Priestess wants to find. The gnoll almost starts laughing before a blade ends up poking into them more. But now you've caught us instead of me catching you.
Yes, your priestess is looking for things like me, and I am looking for her. Where is she?
You think I'll tell you? He's not even halfway through that sentence before there's a dagger right over his throat.
Yeah.
Immediately just quiet. It's just no immediately just stops. Then rethinks what he's saying. Okay. Priestess says she's here to drive out all of you who stole our home. To give us our land back. Tower. Big tower. With monster that would get all of you.
Where is it?
You'll never get to it. It's up in the ice, but you'll freeze. You are able to supply sufficient force for them to get you a more accurate information than just the ice.
Yeah.
Not an exact thing, but we'll get you an area to search.
That's better than nothing. Goody good.
Sadly, most of the landmarks the gnoll knows. Don't mean squiddly dot to you, so.
yeah, figured. Especially their weird way of like describing them too.
Circled on the map, the part of the mountains.
Yeah,
that tower's in.
That's definitely way better than the whole mountain range for sure.
Still a huge area, but it's much more narrow.
Yeah.
The gnoll's panting. Being quite wounded at this point, but, it's still got life in it. You can't stop Priestess. She once brethren find the mousy demon. Yes, once brethren find it. She wake the monster, and the monster come eat all of you.
This mousy demon, is that what?
That's how it described it.
Right. Can we plan that? Like, what is that? Where is it? What is this mousy demon that she's looking for?
You get the sense the gnoll does not entirely understand what it is they're looking for.
Huh. Makes sense.
Except the fact that apparently it should feel like you.
Right. It says a psionic creature. Right. Okay.
But otherwise small, scrawny, and very dangerous. as described.
Yep.
Mousy little creature. The gnoll seems to think it's some. The gnoll seems to think it's a fairy.
Okay.
I mean, it's good intel as any.
Yeah, yeah. Let me think. Anything else we need to know?
You can't stop Priestess even if you found her. No, she's too powerful. Blasting sunlight that destroys the tower. It's so pretty. So powerful. She tells us things. She speaks to us, tells us of what will happen next.
What will happen next?
Yeah, what is going to happen next?
She knows it. Yes, she knows all of you will fight each other. The robed ones. The ones that are always chanting. Led to a bridge and then destroyed. Yes. The gnoll starts cackling.
Oh, wow.
She knows our plan. What? Do we have a traitor in the group? Do we need to start questioning everything?
Maybe.
Are you the ones who will destroy it? Or it's someone? No.
For
you don't
once,
look
I've
like
been
the
good.
ones I was described. No.
What are you describing?
You want to try and press on this?
Yeah, let's press on this point.
It's the last question. It's the last question you're going to get before the null expires.
Yeah, that's who are these ones that he's thinking about, or
As the null seems to describe to you, apparently Lorenza was, their priestess, their dear priestess of the sun and moon.
okay,
Apparently tends to have these great visions of things that will come.
right.
You're unsure exactly how they're referring to, maybe divination spells? You're not 100% sure. But some kind of divination, to be sure. That sounds of it. Or some kind of prophetic reading. But it seems like she described to the gnolls that they didn't have to worry about their forces because people down here would be too busy fighting. Describing a whole bunch of Inquisitor forces being murdered by a peasant levy. It doesn't describe any of you, though. You're already any of the commanders from the sounds of it, so it doesn't sound like she knows exactly what's going on. But
Right, it's more of a potential, it seems.
But that's quite the terrifying divination.
That is pretty scary.
There's also then a brief moment as you see the gnoll's life begin to pass away from just the blood loss.
Yeah.
You are pushing the gnolls quite hard to get them to actually respond to your psychic readings.
Yeah.
As you feel another presence suddenly start to enter your mental link, as if something started entering the mind of the gnoll.
Oh, he's going to.
You can sever the connection before anything happens.
Yeah, he's gonna server, and he's also gonna basically put his hand underneath the chin of the gnoll, and then manifest his psychic blade like right through his head.
Before whatever's happening finishes.
Takes hold. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You execute before Lorenza manages to do whatever she was up to.
Yeah, that's not good.
Her servant collapsing to the ground, unable to hear the final whispers of their priestess.
Yeah. Because fuck that. Jesus Christ. Oh. We need some like anti-scrying shit immediately.
The lead-lined cell.
Lead, yeah.
Unfortunately, you've only just gained the place. You've not really had a chance to, install the lead paneling.
No, of course not. Well,
But it's fine. Because you're psychic, you managed to detect the fact she was breaching before she did.
Yeah.
So
So
she didn't. So you don't think she saw anything, or even saw where you were?
Right. But she has that potential. Please notice.
You think she does, with like, especially with the shaman. You think she probably has the ability to look through their eyes if she's paying attention.
Damn. All right. Well, glad we dealt with that. Yeah. I mean, look, we got a lot out of him. Vicus will, nod to Lady Mizara. Good
Who
work.
who begins to just simply clean her blades off of Noble.
Yep.
This was the monstrous blade for today.
Yes. And he will basically give the ill portents to everyone of us first. Like a emergency mini group meeting. Tell everyone what transpired. That we have an area to find the Golem in. Lorenz is the apparent priestess of the knolls, and she has quite vast magical power. And she has these visions that may or may not be completely true. They seem to be somewhat in detail of what may happen. Who knows yet? And she can divine stuff and also see through her knolls, so that's pretty bad. So yeah, got some info.
She was also looking for people that were not us.
She's looking for psionic creatures or beings, basically. So ones that were like Vicus, in the sense that they have like the psionic crystals in them or whatever.
Is Vicus the secret ingredient?
He could be. It's more like you're of the type, so you could be useful.
I mean, certainly because could be used as bait for dogs.
Jesus. Maybe.
Just have Vickers unleash a ton of psychic power, wait for the Knolls to find him.
Yeah. So it's fairly clear now that they're basically drawn to sources of psionic power because they need that type of material for whatever Lorenzo is doing, which is the golem stuff.
And obviously their divination isn't perfect because of the fact that they still think red is out there. So.
Yes. Yeah. It's not perfect, but the fact that she can even divine something is dangerous because she has some idea, which is worse than having no idea. So
Yeah.
on that actually, how did Mizara do with the forging of magical evidence?
Well, that is the last thing for us to find out. As Lady Mizara, we'll return to all of the council in private to speak to them.
Yep.
She has this very amused look on her face as she walks in her hand holding this bright, almost cartoonish red witch's hat.
Okay.
As she makes a noble flourish to all of you. Trickery and tomfoolery. Always a fun act. I've managed to get the local peasants riled up that they've seen the witch setting up a ritual out in Reichhold Forest.
Right.
And
Right.
urged, and then may or may not have urged some of them that this should definitely be reported to the Inquisition. After all, that would make them leave their lands if this is reported.
This
And
is done.
and the peasants bought it, and the peasants will do the rest for us. We'll need to keep an eye on the Inquisition to see when they move, but I expect movement in the next couple of days. To be sure, though, that they believe the evidence, I've also rigged up a couple of the crystals from that half-elf stash. So there's a nice magical signature there in case the Inquisitor goes taking a quick sniff.
Very convincing.
I do think so.
All right. And we do have some time to get our troops and whatnot into position for that.
We need to be there and ready for that one.
Yeah.
Because given the vision that she had, one of the potentials would be that the peasants are fighting for some reason. So, without us being there, so we need to be there.
Yeah, definitely. We need to lend our aid to the peasants on the first fight here. And it's only fair. We're asking them to lay down their lives for us. At least we can do is fight with them on the front line.
Yeah.
Sure,
You
of
don't-
course.
Yeah, you don't know if the knolls, if Lorenzo the Vision didn't include you because you wouldn't be there, or because she couldn't see that in that detail. You
Yeah.
don't know.
I have a sneaking conjecture or suspicion that her visions are based on what she currently has knowledge of, so sometimes it might not give her the full picture.
Incomplete divinations.
In either case, though, good work.
Lady Mizara seems rather pleased with herself.
Yeah, I am too.
And on that note, I think I will retire to my room. Acting as a peasant all day was kind of tiring.
You're well within your means to do so.
If you need me, I'll be upstairs. As she exits the room, leaving the phony witch's hat on the table beside all of you.
Need to put it on the shelf or something, like here or something, just like one of the paraphernalia.
Many hats of the council.
I am
Yeah.
I am very happy that she ended up rolling a 25 on her deception check.
Wow. All right. Well done, Lady Mizar.
First good roll, except Sarah's.
One of the NPCs had a decent roll.
It'll happen eventually. That's good.
I think it was like a nat 19 for her.
Very nice.
How far away was the general area from us? It looks kind of.
Or into the mountains.
Yeah, it looks that looks difficult to get to. If I had to guess.
That is quite difficult to get to, yes. That is quite deep into the mountains. It will be several days trek at minimum. And only an expert at hunting in kind of really cold conditions could ever make it through that kind of area in one piece.
Didn't we have? Let me think for a moment.
However,
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't Lady Eliza have that?
Lady Eliza herself has an expertise in dealing with the extreme cold of the north.
She's the perfect
She
person. to
could
make
lead a small party through it, though she definitely couldn't lead a large group through.
Right.
That said, it's still a large area to scout, though, so you'll be
Yeah.
up there for a while doing that.
Yeah, that would definitely be her.
Otherwise, though, you'll be constantly having to deal with getting lost in blizzards and having to deal with the extreme cold non-stop.
Yeah, I think it's a given that she has to be there with them. The consequences of are too far of a risk to even consider.
That's assuming you do end up sieging her and not luring the witch out somehow. But
Yeah.
At some point, we need to probably get to the tower and destroy that. And destroy that golem anyway, right? We can't really have that laying around up there.
It's true. It's more. It's more
fair.
like
A genocidal ice golem doesn't seem like the kind of thing you want.
no, for sure. It has to be destroyed, but it's more like, do we want to deal with that and the potential of Lorenza at the same time, or do we want to bait her out?
Yeah.
And get her, and then go look for the thing.
I like the idea of luring her out, like away from her seat of power and out in the field.
Yeah.
Get away from all the wards she's inevitably set up there.
I mean, Vicus can serve as bait if necessary. He is a psionic being. So
Yeah. I think it's you or the boy.
no. Vicus will vehemently I know it's probably an offhand suggestion from Eminence, but the Vicus will be very firm and be like, no. The boy stays here.
No, that's fair. Won't
It's
press his points.
a valid argument, though, for Amos to bring up, still, it would be. Especially
Yes.
because two psychic people would probably be even more bait than one.
And the boy has a more noticeable psychic presence than Vicus, probably. At least he's can cast his
In a magical sense,
presence.
yeah, definitely.
He can cast his mind out to a much further reach in theory.
If you can give Vicus a suitable argument, then he'll think about it. But right now, at the current moment, he's not wouldn't be happy with that.
But as it stands, you have gained quite a bit of information here.
Yeah.
Lord Ryden is also just gathering money, which is good.
Yes.
Currently, it will go into the group's main treasury, unless you guys just want immediate cash for some reason.
No, we could shove it in there until we need to split it again, right?
That's fine. I don't need cash at the moment, necessarily.
No.
So just letting it go into the group pool for also the NPCs to pull out of if needed.
Yeah.
The various operations.
It'd be nice to have like a pool for other people to pull from. So
Yeah, everyone doesn't have to come petitioning you constantly.
yeah. It's
My
like,
liege,
oh,
my liege, I need to rebuild the chicken coop.
it's like you what? Sorry, all the money's in my pocket right now, and I'm halfway across the land.
Mhm.
But yes. I think we'll be coming to a stop here, though.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You've all gained quite a bit more information now. You've all got quite a bit more of an interesting kind of understanding of everything. Next time, there'll be a couple more things with the council to discuss as the council reconvenes after this week of downtime.
Yeah.
Some of you actually have letters that'll be arriving.
Oh.
And from there, you can then figure out what you're going to do next. Of course, you're fully aware that the Inquisition may be sending forces after Lady Mizara's deception.
Yeah.
So you may be leading troops next time, depending on how quickly you want to go.
I think that'd be something we would want to do. Like, it just as in the interest of like informing you so you can prep stuff. I think that's something we would probably be doing, right? Guys?
Yeah.
Probably. I will say one thing that me and Valky might not be here next week because it's Midsummer Eve.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That's
it's-
true, actually.
yeah,
Oh,
you
so
do
yes,
celebrate
it's,
that.
Well, in that case, we can meet up in 2 weeks' time for the fight on the bridge.
Yeah. Okay, 2 weeks time.
Does that sound
Oh, I
fair?
forgot that's next week. Yeah, that's fair.
It's like Sweden's unofficial holiday, so
Yeah,
national
yeah.
holiday.
It's also here. It's also
Yeah.
here.
It's every year I am amazed that it's even a thing.
All the Scandinavians are out barbecuing and getting blackout drunk.
Yeah, I
All the
respect
Scandinavians.
Roxanne now.
You know what? I welcome you to get blacked out drunk. Please let me know how it goes.
Valky,
worry,
as you'll
you'll
probably
get
manage
like
more,
a-
you
a-
can.
I'll make sure we're both alive by the end of it.
Oh, you'll get like a 3 o'clock in the morning like drunken message from Valky.
because
from
he's the
me,
only
what?
one like
Yeah.
alive still. Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
just-
Fallen.
Yes.
Okay, the deal now.
Yeah. To be fair, I did leave Discord on yesterday by accident, and Dark popped in to be like, "Hello."
I saw him just sitting in the chat. So I was like, "I'll come say hi."
Yeah. And I was just like having dinner, like, oh yeah, whatever.
But yes, you all got your first kind of taste here of a little bit of a council downtime.
Hmm.
We'll just with having the clock move forward a little bit.
TikTok.
That was interesting. I liked it.
It will get a lot faster in future as once we start getting to a proper rhythm of like what the council will be doing day to day.
Yeah.
But for the moment, right now, you're kind of the council's in its infancy.
I don't suppose we level up.
You do not level up.
Aw,
No.
that's
That
a
would be
shame.
very quick. It's been like 2
mean-
sessions.
Has
Right?
it been?
I don't mind.
Of course, but
No.
I will make special note, however, of you of you doing that extra training with Sir Bolton.
That was nice.
We didn't get to go through them all properly during the session, but if you're interested, you can take a look at all the companion powers right now.
yes, I would like to.
There's a long list of them. They'll print in the chat when you press the buttons. All the councillors have at least 2. I mean, all the
Yes.
characters basically have 2. Theo has a weird midi third one, but it's not really a power, the extra one.
Yeah, he's like a stance kind of thing.
Yeah. So you already saw the ones for Sir Bolton there, which I'll repost. If Sir Bolton is with you, you gain bonuses on insight checks to tell if someone is attempting to lie or mislead you. And yeah, he can negate a weapon or spell attack that hits you or adjacent target. That's cool.
Pretty good.
Bronn has two things. Shattering Blow as a passive. All melee attacks you make deal 2 additional points of damage or 3 additional damage if it's a two-handed weapon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's just a flat passive because Bronn is a badass with weapons.
All right, that's pretty good.
He also has Giant Killer Stance. As an action twice per combat, you can make a single weapon attack against an adjacent foe who is bigger than you. On a success, you knock the target prone and deal additional damage. On top of your normal attack. Kidding.
Ooh, 2d6 plus 3. Wow.
And if we had a halfling, this would be pretty awesome because everything's bigger than him.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can make you smaller if you want.
Oh,
Reduce and enlarge? Yeah.
Yeah.
to power me up, I must be reduced. Bring me the.
I mean, it would also be kind of funny to imagine because doing Giant Killer Stance, people have psychic bleed.
This
Yeah.
tiny little man with a big beard walks up, pokes you, and you just explode because he has an angry dwarf next to him.
Yeah.
But essentially, Bronn is kind of trained in dealing with foes that are large and potentially want to attack a dwarven hold, and so can grapple a giant to the ground.
For sure.
And well, can do the same with you as that way. Lady Charlotte, of course, has abilities as well, though that's probably primarily going to get used by Halldamir.
Mm-hmm.
Her basic level 1 ability right now, though this will certainly get better over time.
I think it's
Fighting
pretty
Arcanist.
good.
Once per combat, you could just re-roll a spell attack that missed.
Hmm.
Oh, nice.
It's not too bad.
It's it's like so Bolton, like he's like okayish now, but that's one of those skills that scale very well on high levels. Like if someone casts disintegrate on you, you can just block it.
Yes, it is a very versatile thing to be able to just no-sell any attack. Lady Charlotte's other ability is Sanctified Dilettante. She has the church's support in being a mage. She's actually, recognized by the church as not being an apostate. Which is kind of cool. So she gains a bonus on persuasion checks. Well, anyone with her gets bonus on persuasion checks involving the use of magic or purchasing magical reagents and supplies. Basically, if you want to go shopping for magic items, she's not a bad person to have with you.
Mm-hmm.
She knows her stuff.
And she's actually got basically a license.
Yeah.
Unlike all of you who kind of really need, certainly once you get back in power, Ceres needs to kind of get reordained by the church.
I didn't even know there was a license.
The church tries to control arcane people. It's not official license, but it's church approval.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't think psionists are liked by the church, are they?
Not typically, but that's because most people don't like them.
Yeah.
I feel the church is a bit big for the britches here, you know.
I mean, they're also the ones that kept your family in power for
Yeah, it's a church. Like, come on, jeez.
I mean, you know.
There's kind of a religion that your people kind of made a pillar around.
I mean, sure, but what have they done for me lately? You know.
Northern Huntress, of course, you've already seen for Lady Eliza. Basically, you can't get lost in Arctic and tundra terrains unless magically done, and you gain bonuses on survival if in those terrains. And Oath of the Pride, you're also familiar with, which now has a special thing attached.
Oh.
Due to the sacred blood oath that was sworn, if Amnet uses this, he also gets an additional 2 temporary hit points.
Hey.
So that's
Yes. All rulers will swear this blood oath.
These are Lieutenant Jackson's.
Mm.
Reaction when you're attacked, you could just gain +2 AC against that one attack. It's not terrible.
No. +2 AC on reaction is pretty good.
I'm tired. I read it as wild-eyed and alert. It's like crazy.
Wide-eyed and alert, meanwhile, his other ability, bonus on passive perception, and you always kind of having someone watching on rest.
Very good.
So
It's kind of similar to that old Warhammer rule that's called Lookout Sir. As if you had a character in a unit, one of the members of the unit would like scream "Lookout Sir" as soon as artillery came in, and just throw the commander out of the way and die instead.
The sergeant's always the last one to die. Yeah.
dueling enchantress, Lady Mizara, your weapon attacks always count as magical. With her around.
Ooh, okay. That is amazing, actually.
So whoever he's following around, just their weapons count as magical because she enchants them.
Yeah.
And then she has this cool ability, which was the Arcane Blade Dance, which is when you down a foe to 0 hit points for a melee attack or weapon melee attack, you get a free dash, disengage, or can cast one of her cantrips or one of your own cantrips.
Very nice.
It's a useful ability.
It is incredibly useful, yeah.
Very much her, it kind of represents her very flowing combat style quite well, where it's just stab and spell in the same motion.
Yeah.
Or to just kind of move across the battlefield like a dance. Order and stuff is pretty much as you remember it. He tinkers with stuff, and when you hit someone, he can electrocute them.
It's very good. That the tinker thing is incredibly useful.
And again, it's also another way you can make your weapons count as magical.
Yeah, having Raiden with is like always good because that +1 to AC incredibly useful. +1 to weapons, really, like everything is just good.
The only downside with him being like your main steward.
Yeah, we need to find another money man so he can be with us more often.
It's not cover for him when he's leaving. Like technically, Bronn can cover it, but he's often dealing with like combat stuff for you. So
I don't
Yeah.
trust Bronn with money. I don't know.
you don't want to chance charge all your finances.
Well, if he'll do, I don't know. I feel Lord Raiden is more innovative, perhaps with the accounting.
Certainly, certainly he is very good at cutting and finding those little corners to cut, or like, why are we cutting taxes on this bit? Let's just adjust that.
Exactly. While Bronn would just, will just be him, just running it exactly according to the rule book or something. Yeah, that's not exactly what you need.
You've got lawful neutral who's going very by the books versus chaotic good being very flexible with the accounting.
We'll look into the accounting stuff a bit more later because having a chaotic accountant, good and bad.
Creative use of finances.
Spent all the money to buy balloons for the children. Like,
I mean, he's not that form of chaotic. He's chaotic good. He would love balloons for children would be cool and all, but that's not business decision.
The children must dream of infrastructure.
That might be more accurate.
Yeah.
And then there is Theo Sphinx. Now he's officially strong enough to be an apprentice.
Yep.
Theo's got the weird thing because he's got his second identity as Red. So he has Mask of the Red, which is basically he can toggle. Basically, he has two modes of how his powers work, between one being him just Theo and one being him being Red, where his abilities function slightly differently. When he's Theo, he basically doesn't get targeted though by enemy attacks. Like unlike all the other people who get automatically targeted if you guys get crit.
Yeah.
So he's kind of safe. He's in civilian mode, so that's something. This is his main skill power though, which is interesting. You gain advantage, and also when he's in Theo mode, you gain advantage on all stealth checks made to hide or blend into a crowd, or whoever he's assisting.
Yep.
And when he's acting as Red, Unnerving Veil, you gain advantage on intimidation checks against creatures who are not capable of casting spells and not trained in Arcana. It turns out non-magical folk find his masked form with the glowing red eyes rather creepy.
Oh.
And psychic bullshit's probably also helping. His other thing, which is when he's acting as someone's companion, is this. Which is nothing too strong, but hey. Bonus action, when he's red, you can just basically make an attack on someone that deals psychic damage.